What's up, Rockstar? Welcome to my kitchen. Betty Rocker here, and today I have an awesome new recipe that I have really been looking forward to sharing with you. It is a Superfood Protein Cinnamon Spice Breakfast Bar, and I really wanted to come up with a great recipe that would give us lasting energy to start our day with, something that had all of the right nutrients that your body needs when you are just getting rolling for the day, so that you wouldn't have that energy crash partway through the morning, and so that you have something to look forward to that's already made, because sometimes the hardest part of breakfast is having the time when you're busy in the morning to put something together that's healthy for yourself. So this is going to satisfy all of those needs, and it's super easy. It's gluten-free, it's dairy-free, there's no added sugar. We've got all natural ingredients, and we're going to put it together right now. So the base of this recipe is actually bananas, and bananas are an amazing food because they are so rich in fiber. They are a great source of antioxidants and potassium, which is amazing for our metabolism and for our water balance. So I actually just put 5 bananas into the food processor, and I'm just going to give them a quick blend. And we are going to have our base, and the bananas are basically replacing what we might have in the past done with sugar and flour and butter and eggs. So in this recipe, all you're going to need to start the base of this with are just some bananas. So I'm just going to give them a quick blend with the food processor here. You'll see they'll come together nicely. And bananas are a medium to low glycemic index food, meaning that they're not very high on the glycemic index, and the less ripe they are, the less sweet they're going to be. So my bananas are, fairly medium sweetness right now. They weren't super overripe. I think they're going to be just about perfect. So I just have given them a quick blend. And I'm going to go ahead and add in the next ingredient, which is almond butter. Now, let's say that you're someone who doesn't like bananas, and bananas just, you don't like the flavor, the taste, they're just not your thing. I will tell you, after trying this recipe, that they really don't have a very strong banana taste or flavor, but that you could also go with sweet potato. So you could simply swap out, you can buy canned sweet potato, and that would also make a really good base for this recipe. Next ingredient is 1 cup of our almond butter, and almonds are a wonderfully antioxidant-rich, fiber-rich, protein-rich food that is a great source of one of my favorite ingredients, magnesium, which is really important for our metabolism and blood sugar control. So I'm just going to measure 1 cup of this almond butter into our recipe, and this recipe is going to make about 12 servings total, so this might look like a lot of almond butter, and but remember, it's going to be divided up for the entire recipe. So there's my 1 cup of almond butter, and that's just going right in to the mix. And I buy an organic almond butter, and the only thing that's in that almond butter are almonds. You could have a little bit of salt if that was on the package ingredient, but you want to make sure that you're not buying any nut butters that have anything other than just the nuts in them. Your nut butters should be that pure, and I highly recommend looking for an organic nut butter. Now, if you're someone who can't do almond butter or almonds, and you can do peanuts, you could substitute for peanut butter in this recipe. If you can't do legumes or peanuts either, you can substitute for a sun butter, which is ground up sunflower seeds. So this recipe is extremely versatile. You can make it a few different ways. It will work. I'm just going to go ahead and blend this together. All right, so we've got a nice smooth consistency now with our batter, and I'm going to add in some other ingredients at this stage. So the next thing is we're going to add in a 1/2 cup of protein powder, and I've just got a nice plant-based organic protein powder. This is one that I use often. It's made by Garden of Life, and you could also use a quality grass-fed whey-based protein as well. But what I like about this particular protein powder is that it's got a good balance of different plants in it, and that means that we get a nicer, broader spectrum of amino acids. And a lot of people ask me, is your diet or the way that you eat really high in protein? And I would say absolutely not. My diet is very balanced in protein. I'm very mindful. I'm adding a 1/2 cup of protein powder, by the way. I'm very mindful of adding in protein to every meal that I eat, because protein is a lot of amino acids. That's what they are. So one of the reasons I actually like this particular plant protein powder is because it has a broader spectrum of different amino acids. That means it has several amino acids that our body can't make on its own, the essentials. And because your body is constantly breaking down the amino acids to use for so many different bodily functions, you end up needing to intake protein throughout the day on a regular basis so that your body can continue to use the supply, the amino acids that it's getting from the food, as well as the amino pool that your body stores. But it's a very small pool actually of amino acids in your body, so you consistently need to be taking them in from the food that you eat. Now, when you aren't eating enough protein, when your diet is very low in protein, that can be a culprit in low energy. It can be a culprit in not being able to focus, in mood swings, and in many of the other sort of things throughout the day that you may be thinking are caused by like that you're too tired, or that you're that you haven't eaten in a while. A lot of the times it's because you're not eating enough protein. So be sure that you get a serving of protein with every meal. So we've added in our protein to our breakfast bars now, and we're going to add some other delicious ingredients as well. I'm going to go ahead and add in a half a cup of unsweetened coconut flakes, and this is just an organic unsweetened coconut flake. I'm just going to go ahead and add that in. I'm going to go ahead and blend this, and we'll add in a couple more ingredients after that. So just give yourself a nice good chop at this stage. So we're getting really close to the end. You don't have that many more things to put in there. Let's see. Oh, this is like super fast, and it's looking really amazing. Okay, so next we're gonna add the spices. So we've got some cinnamon, we've got some ginger, we've got some allspice, and we also have a little bit of vanilla extract. And this combination is going to make your breakfast taste absolutely amazing. I can't even tell you how good this is. You're going to love it. So we're gonna start with our vanilla. I'm gonna add 2 teaspoons of vanilla to our batter. Perfect. Then I'm going to go ahead and add just a half a teaspoon of the cinnamon. Cinnamon, it's fun to say. Half a teaspoon of cinnamon. Cinnamon going in. And I'm going to add a half a teaspoon of ginger. Awesome. Yep, going in. Make sure it's nice and level. That was a little unorthodox. I used my finger to level it out. Oh no. And last but not least, a little bit of this allspice. I'm just going to use 1/4 of a teaspoon. I just really love the depth of flavor that allspice gives to my recipe. You could also use cloves if you had some. That would also be really delicious. So let's get that in there. Give it another quick blend just to blend up all those spices. Make it taste amazing. And now it's going to start to smell really good too. And if you wanted to, you could also add in like a 1/4 teaspoon of sea salt if you had that and you'd like to add a little salt to your recipe. It's totally optional. No worries either way. So just a quick blend of those, and now we're going to do a little bit of chocolate, because who doesn't want to start their day off with a little bit of chocolate, right? I personally do. So you've got a couple of options here. Now I'm going to add, let's see, I think I'm going to do a 1/4 cup. I was trying to remember if I did a 1/4 cup. I was trying to remember how much I put in. So I'm going to do a 1/4 cup of my cacao nibs, and cacao nibs are basically the raw chocolate from they're basically like the cacao bean, raw, just chunked up, and so they really add that amazing chocolatey flavor and taste to your recipe without having any sugar added, any dairy added. There's nothing in there except for the pure raw chocolate, so you get all the benefit of those antioxidants from the chocolate, just an amazing source of healthy nutrients and minerals. It's very mineral rich. So I'm just going to put a 1/4 cup of my cacao nibs into this batter, and I'm going to add my final ingredient, which is a little bit of dried fruit. Now I'm going to go with a half a cup of dried fruit total, and I couldn't decide. I couldn't make up my mind. When I made this the other day, I made it with chopped up dates because that was the only dried fruit I had in the house, and it was so good. But I had originally envisioned this recipe with dried cranberries, and I love both of these different superfoods. And I'm going to actually, in this recipe today with you, just make this with both of them, the 1/4 cup of each, so that it turns into a total of a half a cup. So let's go ahead and add these guys right in, and you can see our dates are just kind of like bunched up together. And now what's important is we're not just going to blend this, we're actually just going to pulse this a few times. So if I can get my there we go, I've got my food processor back together properly. I'm just gonna pulse this a few times because we don't wanna completely shred the chocolate. We don't wanna blend the chocolate up. We just wanna help everything mix in together. So I'm just gonna do a few pulses to settle that dried fruit and to settle our cacao nibs in, and then we're basically ready. So just a few more pulses here. Pulsed to perfection. Okay, so we're ready to get this in the pan, get it in the oven, and do our taste test, which I'm very excited about actually. So let's go ahead and transfer this over to a 9 by 9 inch baking dish. And I'm gonna prep my baking dish with just a little bit of cooking oil spray. You could also just use regular cooking oil and just use your fingers and run it into the pan. That would work great too. And we're just gonna get our batter out here right into this pan. So exciting. So you guys can see that this batter is a really nice, thick, sticky consistency. And we didn't add any flour to this at all, which is crazy. No eggs, no flour, just the almond butter and the bananas really give the perfect texture. So now I'm just gonna go ahead and sort of smooth it out in the pan. So we want it to bake nice and evenly. And I'm using a ceramic baking dish, which I really do love baking in ceramic. It evenly distributes the heat really, really nicely. And these are gonna cook up in probably 18 to 20 minutes, just depending. That's about how long they took yesterday when I made them and was trying them out. Now I'm just gonna top this with some simple topping, and this is where you can get creative with your breakfast bar. So I just chopped up about a quarter to a third of a cup of fresh pecans, and I just think that they add a delicious crunch to this breakfast bar, so I'm just gonna sprinkle them over the top. You could also do sunflower seeds, hemp seeds, any kind of other nut that you had and wanted to try on this as a crunchy topping. I'm gonna sprinkle some more cacao nibs for a little extra chocolate crunch, and I've just got a few tablespoons worth of cacao nibs here. And last but not least, just a little bit of fresh shredded unsweetened coconut. Oh my gosh, these are just looking amazing, and I can't wait to eat them. Woo, so good. All right, that is perfect. We've got our breakfast bars ready to go in the oven. I'm going to put them in at 350 preheated oven for 18 to 22 minutes, and then we'll see how they are when we get them out. All right, so it's time to check these babies out, and what I like to use is a little cake tester like this, or you could use a toothpick as well. And I'm just gonna pull them out, and we're gonna check to see if they are done. And they're looking really perfect. It's been about 22 minutes, and I could really start to smell them cooking, and that's when you know they're getting really good. And you can probably see right here, if you come in and take a peek, how brown they are around the edges. And so I'm just gonna run my cake tester right into the center, into the densest part, and it came out really clean. Of course, there's just some toppings kind of sticking to it, but that's what lets us know that this is done to perfection. So now I'm just gonna turn off my oven, and we're gonna let them cool for about 10 minutes, and then I'm gonna cut them up, and we're gonna see how they taste. All right, it's time for a taste test, and I am here with the beautiful Coach Alyssa from Team Betty Rocker.
Hi guys.
And we were actually trying this recipe out together the other day, and we're just like so impressed with the bananas, like how they hold it together.
Yeah, they're unreal. I can't even describe to you.
Yes, right? How good this is. I'm like so excited we get to eat this again. We're so excited we get to share this with you guys. So looks like I'm cutting you a massive piece here.
Well, we did just work out.
We did just work out.
It's important to refuel.
It's important. We got to refuel. Okay, so I'm so excited to show you the texture of how these come out. I mean, it comes out like it's like steaming and so good and so gorgeous. And honestly, that is a little bit of a large serving, but I'm totally okay with that if you are. Yeah. Yum.
Yeah,
So good. So this does make 9 to 12 good size servings. So it just depends on how hungry you are, how big of a serving you need to make. But I'm just in love with the texture of this. And like, can you see how amazingly like dense and moist this is? It's just so good. Oh, I'm glad I tried it with the cranberries this time.
Yes, the cranberries. I love like the pop of color that they
Pop
add.
of color, totally.
Beautiful.
So it's okay if you want to just let your bars sit in the same container that you cook them in and just cover them up with a little bit of, like a cover for your fridge. But the rest of them you can enjoy. So we're going to have some right now and see how they are.
Try it. Oh my gosh. It's unreal. They're so decadent.
But you saw what we put in them. It was like very simple ingredients. And even my cousin, JC, who does not like bananas at all, or very much, the flavor of them, he actually said that doesn't taste banana-y to me. And he totally was eating them. He loved them. I'm like so happy. And JC's my taster for all of you who have picky eaters at home or who have someone who's not really sure this health food stuff is really like all it's cracked up to be. So thank goodness I have my awesome cousin JC to help me test these out on.
Yes.
And we should say hi to JC and have him try one of these. What do you think?
Oh, I
I definitely think we should. I think JC should come in and have a bite. Well, hello there.
Hello.
Hello, cousin JC. What's up? So since you liked these the other day, I thought maybe you'd try another one.
Absolutely.
Awesome, cool. And is it you don't like bananas, right?
I don't like
That's the
bananas.
thing. You don't like bananas, and well, you can have a bite and tell us kind of like your thoughts on this. And I'm gonna eat some more.
Yeah.
It's really good.
It's really good more.
Yeah, I don't taste banana at all.
It's crazy because you saw I put in 5.
Yeah, I mean, it tastes so good, and I love the warmth of it too. I don't know how much I would enjoy it if it was cold, but definitely the warmth makes it really rich and
Yeah, it's like a dessert.
extra savory. Yeah.
Yes, totally. And how? No, you're like a lot of people I know that you are you're really particular about texture in your food, and that's really common actually, and something to really pay attention to. I know I hear from a lot of my readers that they don't like a smoothie because it's not smooth enough, right?
Yeah.
It's not creamy enough, and that's totally something that you can do something about that by blending it differently. And in your case, I know that texture is really important to you. So how does this sort of measure up from a textural perspective?
Texture, I mean, it tastes great. The texture's almost like a cake. It's really moist and smooth. It doesn't have any kind of like rough texture or anything like that.
I like that about it too, and I like the crunchiness on the top,
Me
like
too.
of the nuts, and they make such a nice combination.
Yeah.
Thanks, JC, for trying my recipes, because like I know it's challenging. Like when you're branching out, doing different foods, and you guys probably know people who, they're like not convinced by this healthy food. Like, is it gonna taste good? And to me, that's the standard of a good recipe: is it has good ingredients in it, and it actually tastes good. And people who we love actually want to eat it, who might normally be eating something else. So, cheers to you guys, and thanks so much for joining me for the workout, for the kitchen, for the cooking and the eating. And thank you so much for joining us. And of course, I'm Betty Rocker. You are so awesome and amazing, and we'll see you here next time. Bye. Bye.